Pilots, today is a super exciting day because today I am showing you all around the new SR-71 Blackbird from here at Freewing Models, available from motionrc.com. This aircraft is absolutely stunning, and today I'm going to show you exactly how to get yours put together and set up, ready to take it out to the field for your first flight. First thing we need to do is get this thing out of the box. This is one of the largest boxes ever, and we are going to get it opened up now and check out everything that's inside. All right, now that you have the aircraft out of the box, just go around it. There's going to be some shipping material around the aircraft to keep it protected. Go on and make sure you pull all these off before we actually start our assembly process. Tech specs for the new Twin 70 SR-71. It has two 9-gram hybrid digital servos, three 9-gram digital plastic gear servos, four 17-gram Metal Gear digital servos, two 23-gram Metal Gear digital servos. The motors are 2957 2210 kV in-runner motors. This model is powered by two 70mm 12-bladed ducted fans that are counter-rotating. The ESCs powering this model are dual 80-amp brushless ESCs with a 10-amp UBEC, and the all-up weight without your battery is 3,560 grams. All right, pilots, now that we have everything laid out in front of us, it's time to actually start the assembly. What we're going to do first off is make sure we have a good 2mm Allen key screwdriver available to us to put this aircraft together. Almost the entire airplane is put together using this tool. If you haven't already picked one up, we have our MIP screwdrivers here at Motion RC. Also our Benchcraft line of screwdrivers. Either one of those is going to make your life a lot easier as we assemble this aircraft. That's what you're going to be seeing me use. Now, for step one, we need to take the nose section of the aircraft. We're going to take the two black push penny style covers that go in the end of the spars. We're going to push fit those in. If they're a little bit loose, you may take a little bit of glue and put those in. Just make sure if you use glue that it does not get on the spar itself. You don't want it to go into the aircraft and glue it on. This is so you can take the nose on and off of this aircraft if you have any kind of damage, or even if you need to make it smaller to fit in the car, you can slide the nose off of this aircraft. You're going to see as you slide it on, it does have one multifunction control board attachment that gets the rear and the front joined together. You're going to just plug that in. That's providing your power for your lights, your landing gear, steering servos, all that type of things that are up in the front of the aircraft in that one nice wire. Once you have that put on, it's going to take one of your 2mm screws at the top in the battery hatch, and then you're going to have another two at the bottom to get that actually affixed onto the aircraft. All right, now that we have the nose section of the aircraft installed, it's time to get our actual wings on. Now, funny to call these wings because they're pretty small compared to the airplane, but it's just the outer wing panels. For these, you're going to go on and slide that carbon spar in. Make sure you plug your 3-wire connectors in correctly here. If you do not, one of your ailerons will not work, so make sure you go yellow to yellow, brown to brown on this part. Plug it in, then tuck everything in nicely. Do not force anything. You do not want to pinch one of those wires as you're putting on one of your wingtips. Once you have them installed, you're going to take two more of those same 2mm headed screws and put those in from the bottom of the aircraft. Once these are affixed onto the model, you'll be ready for the next step. All right, guys, the next step on our process is to get our rudders installed. Now, the really neat thing on the SR-71 is they actually modeled this correctly. So the entire rudder is actually your rudder surface on this aircraft, just like the real aircraft. As you can see, the entire surface is going to move on this. Now, I will tell you from past experience flying it, you don't need a lot of rudder deflection on this, just like if you're flying a full flying stabilizer. In this case, you won't need much rudder throw on this aircraft either. If you get these humongous throws, I mean, that is a lot of deflection. So just be careful with that when you're actually flying it. But for installing it, you're going to go on and put them on. Remember, they're going to point inwards when you put these in. And then you're going to use the 4 screws to attach it to the actual fuselage. Once you've got those 4 countersunk screws installed, it's time to actually put our push rods on. Now, it's a little bit different setup on this. You are going to have the one that clips in like normal, but on the other side, you're going to actually take a machine threaded 2mm screw and go down through the top, affixing that to the ball link itself. This is an extremely strong hinge, and you'll notice that that's how they did the hinges on all the aircraft, and all the control horns are like this. They're all pinned, they're all slotted. All the control horns are actually these double linked where it screws through them and holds them to the aircraft, so there's no worry about these things coming loose. This airplane's going to be under a lot of forces, flying very quickly, and it was something to make this thing even stronger. So the final step in the assembly portion of this build is to actually put the nose cone on with the pitot tube, and then also the magnetic tail cone. Just go on and snap these on. It's super easy. Now, at this point, the aircraft is finished and assembled, ready to go fly. This is how yours is going to look exactly out of the box. But if you choose to, it does come with 3 schemes to choose from. You have NASA, the Skunk Works, and then the Tiger. These are just water slide decals, super easy to install. All of these are available in the kit when you order it, and of course there's going to be a bunch of different schemes come out for this on the secondary market. But right out of the box, you're going to get 3 to choose from on the aircraft. The only decals that are pre-applied for you are all of the little red no step things all around it, some of the boxes, those type of things that are just a little bit more difficult to put on, but all the aircraft had it. So we did those out of the box, but left the actual US Air Force and things off, so you can do the NASA scheme or the Skunk Works scheme, whichever one you choose to use. There's also some additional color swatches just to make the aircraft a little bit more visible. If you wanted to put some of these on there, you can. All right, pilots, now that you have the aircraft all assembled, it's time to actually install our receiver. Now, you're going to need a total of 8 channels to take advantage of all functions of the SR-71. The good news is it's set up like a conventional aircraft, not like a delta wing. So all you need to do is plug all your control surfaces in, line them up, elevator to the elevator channel, aileron to the aileron channel, and all the mixing for the delta wing is going to be handled for you through the EG-01. Now, with that being said, when you're picking up your SR-71, it's a great time to grab a receiver also, and we now carry receivers for 3 of the most popular radio brands in the RC industry. We have the Lemon RXs for our customers that fly DSM. When you're getting this aircraft, we have the 10 channels. If you get the one with the gyro installed, just don't turn it on for this aircraft because it already has one built in. I do recommend going on ahead and picking up a satellite receiver to plug into this one if you're going to do that, because this airplane flies a very large pattern. We also have our Futaba receivers and our Radio Master 8-channel receivers also here at Motion RC available now. So your channel count for the SR-71, you have elevator, ailerons, rudder, landing gear, throttle, reverse thrust. You also have one for the gyro mode select, and then your final channel is the parachute. Now, for customers that need to get away with less channel counts, you could always get away with taking the reverse function off or the parachute and still fly the aircraft fine. I do recommend keeping the gyro always on a switch you can turn off in flight in case it ever came loose. You can't control the airplane if the gyro is bouncing around inside of it, so it's nice to have that fallback of being able to turn that one off. So after you power up your model for the first time, go around and check all of your controls. If any of them have big deflections that are incorrect at the neutral position, this is a great time to unscrew the screw, and adjust the ball length to get all of these nice and straight. All right, so that gets the assembly of the aircraft actually done. Now, what you need to do on your parachute is assign that to a 2-position switch. I ended up putting mine on a momentary button, but you can put that anywhere you want. Just make sure it's going to be somewhere you don't accidentally hit that in flight. Now let's show you that actually work. If I reach back behind me and I push the button, you're going to see it pops it out. Boom! And that thing goes flying. So it's made to eject that parachute and get it out of the way into the airflow. Now, when you go to wrap your parachute up, you want to leave this string loose. So when it throws it, it comes up into here, into the airflow. When you put it back in, you're going to stuff that down in there, just like so. Then take the cord and wrap it up on top. Once you have that all stuffed in there, you take this little hatch, push it down until it clips, and then you can close your 2 pieces on top. You also have the reverse thrust option. Once again, just assign that to any 2-position switch you want. If it's running the wrong direction, just reverse that channel that you have it plugged into. The aircraft also has strobe lights, as you can see, one on top, one on bottom. The one on the top uses the same receiving points as you've seen in some of our other aircraft recently to provide power to the hatch, so you don't have a wire when you're trying to take your battery in and out to deal with. When you put that on, that's simply going to line up and provide power to that strobe. The bottom strobe is always on. Then you have your forward light here on the landing gear. As you can see, there is the 2 little pots up there. Very scale looking landing gear. And as you can see while we're there, the landing gear is painted. It is black on the Blackbird, but it is still suspension, as you can see. If we move back while we're speaking of landing gear, you can also see there is the suspension landing gear on the aft section. And this is the first Freewing model to come with colored tires. Let me flip this over real quick and we'll take a look more in depth at that. All right, so now that we have the aircraft flipped over, you can really see those 3 wheels on there, all independently spinning, as you can see. Now, if we take and we flip the gear up, you're gonna see this very scale look. You got your center doors, and then they shut in, and then your doors are mislead. Now, the real cool thing, we've heard y'all in the past on some of these, we'll show you the nose gear now. The second you flip that switch, gears open and out. No delay on these at all. Once again, if we put them back in, flip the switch, doors open, and in they go. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the actual control horns and hinges on this aircraft. These are super reinforced. As you can see, they actually have a screw that goes through them into 2 different horns to keep these super strong. This is a fast airplane with a lot of weight, so that is an extremely strong horn. Goes all the way through to the other side into a plate that's going to use 2 screws to sandwich that together. Very, very strong. You're not going to have to worry about these ever pulling out. You can also see that the embedded hinge inside of this is a pocketed hinge. Down in there, if I were to deflect them, you can see that keeps it a very clean look. These are not foam hinges. Everything is done to the top quality on this aircraft. You can also see our cover plates here that are painted to match the aircraft. They go over top of your servos and hold those in, and these rods are very strong back here. Now, while we have the aircraft upside down, there were cheaters needed on this aircraft to get enough air into the aircraft, so you can see they are located right here. They're just the plastic ducting. You also have the 2 screws here and the one in the front. If you do need to take the shrouds off to add your afterburners in, I know that everybody's probably putting afterburners in this aircraft, so it is super easy to get into it and get access to the fans. Speaking of those fans, if you take a look back here, there is also a nozzle built in. This is to help with adding more thrust to the aircraft. There is these little thrust tubes actually made to fill in that hole and help push that out. So pretty neat to see that all engineered in there. I know we talked about this earlier, but the rudders on this aircraft are really neat. So as you can see, they actually completely turn with them. full flying stabilizers, but this is in your rudder for once. Pretty neat though. This is just like the real airplane, and it's so cool that they actually figured out how to do all the geometry and everything to make these work. And it really flies well with them. I will say you don't need a ton of deflection. This is all of it. And that is plenty of rudder on this airplane. Now, another thing you've got really used to on a lot of the newer aircraft is all the plastic cladding. And it is definitely here in force in this aircraft. So, from the leading edge, coming back, you're gonna see this entire section is all plastic to right here. So all of this nice, thin, skinny portion of the aircraft is not gonna take damage in transportation. If we open the battery hatch, all around here is plastic, all the way around. This is where you're going to be going in and out of the aircraft all the time. This is going to keep this looking really nice, no matter how many flights your aircraft has. Same thing on the aft battery section. You're going to see this, also plastic cladded all the way around. The intakes for the SR-71, the cone design, this is all plastic up to right here. This is going to keep these from getting damaged. Your intakes, all plastic cladded all the way around and into the leading edge. This part is foam going out to here. This model does come pre-programmed with the EGO1 Freewing gyro right out of the box. It's only going to have stabilization and off as the two modes right out of the box. If you want recovery mode, it can be added at an additional time, just using your Blue Bridge gyro programming card. Well, pilots, that gets the SR-71 Blackbird all assembled and ready to take it out to the field. As you can see, it's an absolutely stunning model. Flying it has been an absolute joy for me also. It's something really special to finally get out and fly the SR-71. The first time you do it, I promise it's kind of one of those modeling dreams that we all wanted to have an SR-71 for the longest time, and to now have one that comes out of the box that's this beautiful with the working drag chute, reverse thrust, lights, everything you could ever want in a model is something simply amazing. So if you're new here to Motion RC, I highly recommend hitting the subscribe button. We're reaching almost to 100,000 subscribers, which we'll be doing some giveaways here on the channel when that happens. And as always, whether it's air, land, or sea, you can get it right here at Motion RC. I'll see you in the next video, guys.